Hi everyone. So amazing. I wanted to give the tribe a shout out. I normally don't come on this early in the morning, but because I'm taking some spiritual time, I thought I would come in. Every time I come to Arizona, I am literally grounded. It is the most beautiful thing to ever feel and understand and understand. We are all getting codes. If you see numbers in the 222, 333, 111, 1111, you are getting codes. These codes are to help us come into timeline is literally by a divine place and presence. I wanted to come on because so many things are happening energetically, and by touching into your source energy and really understanding um, the divine presence, the divine silence, the divine attribute of all that is and what is. We are definitely changing collectively. We are all finding out more about who we are and why we are in the collective. Don't you think it's kind of interesting that your heart space, who you are, has landed in this reality at this time where we got so many uncertainties, so many things that are happening, not only above, but so as below. We're actually seeing that everyone in our world, in our touch, everyone is changing. There's not one person that is not going through change right now, whether you know it or not. The divine feminine and the divine masculine, they are owning into their source energy, and then the divine present of Ashua, all that is the God gene, the God in us, the infinite high priestess lives and dwells within source, and that is who we are. We are a part of all of it. Some of us have been through the dark night of the soul. Some of us have had to come out of some heavy, energetic rainfall. But this rainfall came to cleanse your auric field so you can begin to see a new perspective, because everything is changing. Nothing will be the same. How we view life will change. How we view humanity will change. How we look at our neighbor and how we look at our families and how do we look at, and that's why we had to clear out a lot of things with friendships, relationships, with family. That's why people that are in relationships, you can't be ingenuous. Guess what I've been doing for the last day or so? I'm actually in a home that a loved one passed away. Her loved one passed away. He wasn't a divine masculine, but what you're going to learn about the human existence, you will go out the way you came in if you do not work on yourself. Her husband is lingering in the house. I'm in the process of clearing the energy out. And what's so interesting, he asked before he took his last breath, why did he have to go so soon? But you see, no matter if we leave this present reality, good or bad, we will have to face the things that we did to others. And there's a thin veil, and I'm only talking through the experience of what I'm seeing energetically. In this thin veil, there is your ascension, and there is the life you left. And this life that you left, you're kind of caught in this area. There's a thin veil. And if you can picture yourself like looking into a mirror, and your spirit self, after it translates into the afterlife, it is looking at all that was and is in that timeline. And what happens when people pass on, transition, they get stuck. The reason they get stuck, because they must bring residency, they must bring closure to the side that they left undone. And so sometimes, people will get stuck for millenniums unless someone comes into their timeline. Now, many of you guys out there have the gift to go into timelines. Let me say, like, shift into another dimension effortlessly, but not even realize that you have the gift. And the best description, have you ever walked into a room, like a room full of people, and all of a sudden you feel like no one sees you? They don't see you because you tapped into someone else's timeline. And the more you elevate, the more you're going to begin to see this shift happen in your timeline. You're going to be moving in and out effortlessly into other people's timeline. That's why you call. Let me move over here because it's really sunny. That's why you call it. You literally call it a time shift. Because when you're in a time shift, you are shifting your trajectory into another timeline that maybe you once were there at one time or another, but you have elevated beyond that. So As I'm here doing this energetic work, I begin to realize that the divine feminine, the divine feminine, the reason I have been struggling with the masculine and the feminine energy, it's almost like Source has been trying to show me it in a sense of within my own self. For so many years, I was looking outside of me. I was looking like, what is going on? Look at, what'd you call those red birds? It's just flying in this space. This is so crazy. When you're in the right timeline, everything around you is, I mean, everything is giving you recognition, is giving you confirmation. So as I've been looking in this timeline, outside of me as a feminine, but what lies in us is the masculine and the feminine energy. So the masculine energy being in danger, because they are, we're in danger. We cannot separate the two of us because what lies within us is duality. And in the duality is us, the continuum of mankind, the continuum of humanity. And humanity is not just where we exist right now. Humanity is all that is. Humanity is all that is present and unseen, if you get what I'm saying. So when I started realizing, and you know what the beautiful thing, if we stay ever so present, we will realize that every situation, every exploration, everything within our collective eyesight, energetic sight, is a energetic lesson to get us to acknowledge and recognize our higher self. Because it's in our higher self we can bring duality to the okay, let me say it in a simple term. In the separation of the dark and the light, light cannot exist without the dark, dark cannot exist without the light. They all are in synchronism with each other in their balance. Because sometimes you need a negative ion to actually heal your body, because that negative ion can actually kill too much of a positive ion. Because if you have too much, it's not healthy. Everything is about balance. So as I'm doing the work in this house, I started realizing he's struggling with how he was as a man to his divine feminine. And because as he was crossing over, the reality of who he truly was in this life became very intimate for him because he was crossing over. So he was able, just in that moment, that's why he's having a hard time crossing, because he's seen the sorrow. He's seen some laughter. He's seen the laughter. He's very known by many people. People are coming from all over they've given him a service in a few days, and he's got people from all over, like very prestigious people. Being prestigious is only a title. Sometimes being prestigious is how you hide your demons. You must come correct with the I am in order to have peace. It's not prestigious people that surround you. In fact, that can be your biggest downfall, because that's a false perception of who you are, because you haven't taken time to know who you are. So, how can there be change in the masculine or the feminine energy if you cannot identify who you are? Your only identification of who you are is through the people around you that tell you who you are, and that can be deceptive. Because those people don't see you in moments. Those people don't see you when nobody's watching. And that's what's so interesting, because you want to know, you really want to know how a person lived. Is watch them, how they die. So, this false perception of how you view this reality is not by domineering features of yourself or the sensual aspect of the feminine energy expressing her sensuality through her body. Has nothing to do with that. It has to do with, do you have a direct source of communication with source energy, with Ashua, with God, with El Shalom, the Most High? It has nothing to do with your fans. Your fans will lie to you. But the I am always will tell the truth. The I am will always bring to your knowledge where you're not elevating. Hi, Tracy. How are you? Where you're not. And so, as you, and the reason I'm scratching, I'm in desert. And so, I'm coming from Austin. It's really wet in Austin. And my body is itching. I think I'm getting dried out. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just feeling itchy. And I don't know if it's because I'm doing a channel either, because, this is like, I've been doing this work up in here, and he doesn't want to go. And I have to convince him that it's okay to cross over. Because once you cross over, you have that moment that you can feel the empathy. You actually really have empathy for the people you really hurt, because you'll see them the way they saw you, not the way your fans saw you. You will see them, and I don't know if you ever heard this. You will see them by their works. You will know them by their work. So when you're doing that crossing, when you see people like, I love to make Tina Turner as a reference. I remember her in a interview, and somebody, after she had her kidney transplant, and I remember she said, somebody asked her, "Are you afraid of death?" And she goes, "No, I look forward to crossing over." Because crossing over wasn't death to her, it was just reliving. But people that have been nefarious, and that's why I say, when you're dealing with a narcissist, and when you're dealing with people that are dark, they will have this aura about them, and they will have a smell They, you know, they real have a smell. Every woman or man that I have talked to that had to deal with a narcissist would say that they had like an odor, like a compelling odor. And that is very interesting because it's almost like when death lies in the soul, it begins to decay. And in the defecation of decay, it's almost like you get this hue, and that's why you don't feel comfortable around their aura. So as I'm doing this channeling, he's constantly, and he's here even as we speak. So it's just like the moment I landed, I knew that it was, I was here to help her deceased husband ascend. The ego must die. The ego must die. Because if you do not allow the ego to die now while you're here on earth, while you're here on earth, the ego will cause you to resist transitioning. It will cause you to resist transitioning, and you will be stuck. You will be stuck. That's why it's so important that you that are sensitives, seekers of truth, seekers of knowledge, what's lying in you is the power of Ashua, the power of the I am, who we are, the existence of all. We are a part, not just in a micronism. We are all, we are all part of every aspect. That's why we need to be effective in this collective, because we're collectively all involved. There is no separation. So my gift today, while I'm here, is to help him cross over, because I know my purpose. I want you guys to take some time, because many of you guys that come on my channel are gifted in some way. You may not know what your total gift is, but you are gifted in some way. You're here to assist humanity. And I'm going to say to some of you guys, you are resisting the gift to humanity. Fear. Resist your gift. Resist who you are. Resist all that you are. You did not come on this channel by accident. You came on this channel by divine interruption. To know, hi Tony, to know and understand that that thing that troubles you when you walk into a room is the very thing, that is your evolutionary desire to change. Your evolutional desire to change, to be what that thing desires you to be. So when you walk into this consciousness, you are totally connected to yourself. And it's within that connection you find love. How simple is that? You find love. You have love connects you to connection. Love connects you to self. Love connects you to all that is. Love connects you to understanding. Love connects you to healing. Love connects you to youth. Love disconnects you from drama. Because in love, you have surrendered. Because you have to surrender to have love. You have to surrender to be loved. You have to surrender to receive love. Surrendering. Not your ego. Yeah, men thrive on ego. So if you want to be in your ego, play a sport. But don't do that with the feminine energy. It won't go well for you. Good afternoon, Erin. How are you? It will not. But we're here to elevate consciousness. And it's through the contractions, the pressure. Why you think the pressure is getting more intense? The pressure is getting more intense to force us into a choice, to force us into our new evolution of change. Because sometimes we're sloths. What do sloths do? They don't want change. They just wanna exist and just sit. They don't want to have to be challenged to move. Do not waste this experience. Do not sit in a pot of gold and never play with the coins. Never play with the jewelry that's in the pot of gold. Never live in your divine purpose. Never knowing what lies in your divine purpose that makes you you. That is an intricate part of you. It is exponentially the most greatest part of you. That's where you shine. That's where you will shine. And that's where you'll be more impactful. Some of you guys are motivational speakers. Some of you guys are writers. Some of you guys are into music. Some of you guys have so many gifts, but you're afraid to express them. Don't hold back for being you. Don't hold back. Exploring you and what's your part and how you can be more effective. And it helps you know the nature of you. It helps you know the why of you. It helps you explore the creative aspect of humanity. Your trials and your troubles are only there to reveal the greatness in you. Because if you didn't have things happen, you wouldn't even want to change. Because everything is okay. But just think, those hard times, those situationals, motivate, have love, have faith, have desire. People that live the longest. My stepfather lived to 100. Why did he live to 100? Because he lived life passionate. He gave back. He loved children that weren't his. He did that twice. Masculine energy. You want to know who you were, who you are? I challenge you, if you really want to know as masculine energy, who you are. Ask your beloveds, the past ones, the present ones, and even seek the future. If you really want to know, ask the Divine Feminine, because they're designed to tell you the truth. For a woman, women are naturally intuitive. You want to know who a woman is?